For the introduction. I think since you see the topic of this session, taking of course from the human angle, but more from the business case angle, because as you know that most of the decisions what we make in the CEO's office is always cost benefit. And what good if we always show that there is a benefit to go with safety. And this will be our endeavor, that at the end of the session we are able to convince most of you that there are definitely a case for this business case. So you will see some examples, you will see some overview as well, but very concrete examples. And that is why you are free to ask questions which will be very core, because they are real examples, and in the real examples it's difficult to present everything. These are stories of 3 years, 4 years, but it's going to be very interesting. I can promise you that these are very live cases. Some of it is still confidential, but you get to see this as a first time, and I will welcome any time just to, when we close one business case, then you can ask us question. So I think I will just set the tone little bit from the, because I belong to a automotive industry where of course we make components for the cars and the trucks and the vehicle. As long as it is inside the factories of the manufacturers is fine, but there is an environment where it goes out of the factory. And as you know that most of the time a vehicle is not with the parent or the father and the mother of the vehicle, but with the husband who is using the vehicle. And how the husband is keeping the vehicle and what the vehicle is doing after we manufacture, we are also liable for that. And we do take, you know that we are highly regulated industry, of course, as a auto. And you see some top news in many times, and recently also you see on the Euro 6, how we are being discussed, and also from the Siam President you see a very clear commitment what we want to do. And you have also seen on the regulation side what happened in Delhi with the odd and even, all the pollution contributing to the vehicular pollution, and to some extent it was quite a good success on those days. But I think there are a lot of beyond regulation. So we are regulated, but what happens beyond regulation as a culture for safety and what it makes on the business case. So I will just start with a small case from the auto industry, and then we will move next. Can you switch on the projector? Okay. It's coming. Good. My presentation will have actually two main parts. One is it talks about something called road death. I think all of you are aware, most of us are now aware. Last year when Mr. Munde died, being a high profile minister, we could see a lot of buzz around it. So we will talk about it a little bit. So safety not only while producing in the supply chain or value chain, also when your product is produced and it's going on the road, what it causes. And second is really there is a business case for safety. Do we see that it is sustainable? So the first part, I will start with a small example of very close place, Yamuna Expressway. We all were very happy that expressway of the world standard has been built, and following that, not even more than a week, we start hearing that the highway is already bloodied. It had accidents after accidents, and it does not stop even now. Many times we heard that the family is coming from Agra, going inside the trucks. The trucks are either idling without nothing on the signaling side, and we keep on hearing it. So when we hear these kind of story, and I'm really talking about a safety of a different kind, which is on the mobility side, I give you some statistics. Today in this country, road death is the biggest cause of unnatural death. Only by statistics, if you look at, it is something which is so urgent and so important, the figures need to be known to all of us. 35% of all the unnatural deaths are caused by road death. Imagine in terms of, again coming back to the human and emotional angle, roughly, millions and millions of people travel on roads every day, and close to 380 Indians never come back home. How it feels like. Close to 380 every day does not come back home. Try to imagine those families who are the victim of this, which also means almost every hour we have 15% dying, 20 children dying every day, and easy to recall is every minute an accident and every 4 minutes a death. Now these are the figures which is reported as per National Crime Bureau. if you look at other studies on road safety, you'll see more than 100% is underreported. So this is something which is already in facts and figures. On a lower side, it can even be higher. We contribute to roughly 10% of the overall road accident and road deaths, though our vehicle population is only 1%. So it's not only, because having more vehicle, it's also something to do with the safety culture. And another angle to it, we talk about our growth in the GDP. Let's talk about the growth here. We are superseding China already. China is actually doing quite better in last few years. They are dropping, and India is actually going up and up. As a country, we should be actually shameful to this fact. In 10 years, we have roughly 12 lakhs people already dead. 5 million seriously injured. And what I told you, that roughly more than 377 people does not come back home, is not something which we can tolerate further. When we see this kind of picture every day, you see this in newspaper, without fail. I talked about Yamuna Expressway, you talk about any other expressway, and you'll see this happening. Now, what do we do? What is our first response? First, of course, thank God it's not me. And that's the very easy reactive, thought comes to our mind. It also talks about our safety culture. Of course, we have to be careful. So we avoid in the night driving. We try, whatever we can. And of course, a lot of us accept this as part of our development story. It has to happen. We are a growing country. Roads have to be built, and some people will die. Like accepting it. It's very, very reactive. Now, how do we take this on the proactive side? How do we take the responsibility of this? Whenever we talk about road safety, to tell you very frankly, at least in the road safety area, which personally I'm working since now 7-8 years, it becomes a phase 3 topic. It's like you're doing something, on a it's not urgent. It's there, but it's not urgent. The moment you convert this as arresting road deaths, it becomes an urgent topic. And I think this is what we are trying to play with the mind to bring the culture of safety, that if we play with arresting road deaths, and we actually create our mission on the road safety, it's a topic which is not led by one agency or one company. It's actually a very wide variety. You can see SIAM, ACMA, various supply chain companies. In authorities, you can see almost all authorities of Government of India getting involved. Somebody builds the road, how they build the road, what kind of traffic engineering is done, somebody who is making the cars and the trucks, somebody is owning the car, somebody is driving it. So it's actually a multi-responsibility job. And that's also one of the reasons why it's pretty difficult to make changes so fast, at least in the democracy like India. This is where, as per the WHO, where we said, okay, this decade will be the decade of road safety. There were 4 major angles: engineering, education, enforcement, and emergency care. What we feel from the industry side, these are the 3 which we can pick up: engineering, education, enforcement. And from the vehicle industry as such, we have a role to play. So there are many roles to play by various agencies, but we cannot stop that everybody starts everything. So from the vehicle side, at ACMA, at SIAM, we started working. So SAFE is working in SIAM. ACMA has created a new committee now. It's called Safety Committee, where we are working. So I will just give you one small example now. All this what I said is just to set that the topic is urgent and important. Let's take about an example. What we did as an industry now, we have actually formed an NGO called Drive Smart, Drive Safe. It's called Club D2S. And the basic philosophy of this NGO, it is beyond a company. So a lot of us together, and we are working with schools, colleges. We are going around with mechanics, electricians, drivers. We are meeting lakhs and lakhs of them and trying to build the safety culture. Now we are spending money on this. Now this is why we have to say, does it make sense, business sense actually to spend? I will split into 3. Again, education, engineering, enforcement. Let's talk about education. What we do is actually we do a lot of walkathons, a lot of awareness activities. We collaborate with NHAI, Ministry of Road Transport, with a lot of traffic police, a lot of association. And actually it has been so contagious in these companies that sometimes even the employees, not only them, but even the families are coming ahead and participating in this. Because the topic actually touches you, it is hurting the country. So we did this with schools, for example. This is Pune, this is in Dwarka. There are around 5-6 schools which started this. What you see here is also Dwarka. What you see here is Chennai. This we did in the DLF area with all the employees. There are again thousands and thousands of them. We do this a lot with the SAFE and the National Ministry of Road Transport. So when we do all of this, it's fine as an awareness campaign. But my basic question is, does it make a business case? Arresting alarming road death, whether it is yes or no. And I just try to give you one or two examples, and then we can conclude whether it makes, and if it motivates you, you're most welcome in a small and big way, whatever each one of us can do. Rather than talking about it, we can actually impact this. Just give you some memory about the scams in our country. So the scams and the numbers actually keep increasing. Just to memorize little bit the figures of this business case. So we talked about Bofors a lot with 200 crores, 1000 crore, Fodder scam, and Harshad Mehta with 5,000. It kept increasing. I don't know if you can recall what is the biggest scam till now with all the coming up. So 20,000 crore, 70,000 crore, 176,000 crore. Just to give you a relative figure, that when we look at these, in the highlights, something which I always say is missing is one of the biggest scam is actually 3,80,000 crore is actually lost in road accidents. Compare this about a business where this money is being spent and it is in your kitty to spend to safeguard human life. So life and the cost attached with the life. So we are not actually in this calculation of 3,80,000 crore. This is done by Planning Commission, in the old Planning Commission, and they said 3% of the GDP is actually getting lost. So we are not calculating consequential damages. We are only calculating the direct damages. Even with the existing overall, look at these figures of corruption, this is too high. And if it is 3,80,000 crore, I just try to multiply for few years, not many years, just to take 4 years. It means roughly 12,81,000 crore. What does it mean in terms of money, or what can we create out of this money? Just few examples. We have the biggest poverty elevation program called Manrega. 17 of them can be crafted out of it. More than 2.6 lakhs new highways can be created. You can actually clean rivers, more than 50, and you can actually spend roughly 35,000 for every poor family under the BPL. So just look at the amount of this 38,000. I wanted to tell you what it can do for the country in terms of using the money. Of course, it saves human life as a driving factor. So these cost which is included here is only includes cost of injuries and economic cost of death. It does not actually include a lot of other consequential damages. It's 3% of the GDP. Imagine our GDP growing at 7.5%, and if we are able to do something here, it adds to the GDP. So when we do a cost benefit analysis, the benefit is clearly 3,80,000, but who will get this benefit? And that's where the whole controversy comes. Where this money will go? This money is seen, but it's actually a virtual money. And alone one industry is difficult to encash on this money. For me, since benefit is 3,80,000 on a macro level, the business case is yes, for clear. But let's look at now micro. What does it mean? And I will give you an example in the engineering area. Actually, it's from my company. Around a few years back, we were struggling with our re-entry to this country. So Hella was actually a market leader, and then we thought that, okay, we are coming again to the country because we were absent for some time because of some dispute in the legal JV structure. 2006, 2007 roughly I joined, and then we had a chance to redesign the whole DNA of the company. And we did some study with McKinsey, and you'll be surprised to see actually we make our vision not on a very solid fundamental of only money or few millions of euro of turnover, but we actually took this factor of road deaths and we say, okay, Hella coming to India should be seen actually as safety coming to India, and we created a vision out of it. Rather than getting driven by the market, we actually drive the market. And there was a basic reason behind it, because we found that we are responsible for some of these deaths because of the old Hella, because of what we did in the past. Whenever we talk about road safety, we talk about brakes, we talk about airbags, we talk about a lot of stuff which is actually reactive. Much before it is preventive, and that actually starts from visibility. In our country, there's a very strange thing you see on the trucks called blue horn. Anybody know why this is there? Most of the trucks? It's part of the norms, part of the standards. Because in our country, we don't have lane. When you overtake, you need an acoustic laning system. So it's actually much better than a visual laning system. It's actually acoustic if people follow that you actually have to alert a guy before you overtake. Now, when we saw the pathetic situation of this visibility area, we said, okay, there's a space for the company, and we actually want to work in this area. And we said, in our own word, like Fevicol means chipakna, the company actually should be seen as in this area in next 10 years, 15 years, doing all hard work to sit in this area called visibility on the roadside or the traffic. Then we actually worked hard. We took a lot of partners along with us. HELA is actually a German company with more than 6 billion euro now. It's roughly 30,000 people. In India, we have more than 1,600 people. And we actually do a lot of research in this area. So we said, this area of Dekho, Ruko, Bacho, let's work on the Dekho area quite a lot. And we built the whole strategy behind it. What we saw in the night-time accident was quite high, 40%, though the traffic is only 20%, so the propensity is very high. Human brains actually absorbs only more or less, only 10% from the other signaling, but from eye almost 90%. Even in the daytime. You know, in the Munde's death, we did the analysis. If there could have been a DRL and a seat belt, this death was avoidable. Similarly, here we see that there are a lot of possibilities where we can understand why there are so many deaths in the night. Every 13 years, all of us here, we have a propensity to lose our eyesight, and we need double the light. Now this for safety was very critical, and we actually said, okay, when we have such a different story in the night time, we can actually do something about it. Just 5% information you see in the daytime, what you see in the night time, what you see in the daytime. So we analyzed all of this. I'll not go in detail. I will simply get into what we did. So we studied the commercial vehicle actually. There was 40% death caused by commercial vehicle out of the whole accidents, and 200,000 accidents happen in the night time. And we said that, okay, we want to make a change here. Market was driving a different way, so there was different kind of business. Most of the truck you see since last so many years remain on the same. There is no big change. The traffic had changed, the speed had changed, but they still depend on, and we found from our study, 90% of these trucks either has a HELA or HELA copy lamps of 60s, 70s, 80s. And you will see this. I'm telling you some fact which you will go now back on the highway and you will see that. And we said, okay, we are responsible for it. We just get out of the country and we did nothing, and everybody copied, and what is the outcome is the road deaths. Because those who are dying are not the purchaser of this technology. Similarly, you see on the tail lamps, you will see, and we did this study with NATRIP and IIT Delhi, almost on the Delhi-Jaipur highway, 50% death happens by tailgating. You get inside the truck from the rear, or you go from the left side, either because of high beam, or you get because signaling is not there. When we studied this, we actually came up, we said, okay, can we change it? We met a lot of purchasing people in the OEMs, and to change this into new technology has to be an ecosystem change. Everybody should understand, does safety sell for them? Maybe not. There is a lot of discounting in commercial vehicle, and for them to put more money on this was not motivating. So basically, we brought certain product which was almost at 1/10 the cost the world was using, because we can't use something which Europe is using. What Audi and BMW is using cannot be valid for the trucks because the affordability is different. So we actually innovated something. It was awarded later. It actually gives a Poka-Yoka kind of situation on the road, fail safe. So you will still have accident but not fatal. You can actually save roughly 4 meter extra distance because of these LEDs, and these were state of the art, first time 20 years ahead technology brought to the country. Slowly we were not only awarded, we actually got some success, and this is why I want to motivate all of you. We actually got reputation success. At the same time, now in fact in the truck world we are known for safety in all the forums when we go. And then you also see the business coming up. So I will just show you one slide for the particular segment which we work. Today most of the OEMs on this accepted. It was difficult for them because it's a factor of 5x. Look at the initial cost. From the normal tail lamp which you don't see on the road, 80% failing, this was a factor of 5, though it was much lower, which is 100x in the Western world. So we were coming as a frugal engineering, and one by one it's Ashok Leyland, Tata Motors, VECV, Mahindra almost contribute to the major share in the truck segment actually. So you'll see in next 2 to 3 years, the whole country will change. You can see them coming up, and this safety will come on card. Similarly, there are a lot of mining and construction. They're also on the safety side. JCB, Caterpillar started adopting us. You see in the bus segments already changed. You see all those projectors now, which was innovated very, very frugal way in India. And most of the buses are on the projectors. They are no more on the old technology. So initially it was difficult. We had to really struggle. For 3 years actually our company was on the brink of almost near death. We were very close to go to bankruptcy on the BIFR. Because when you invest, and there are no takers in the beginning. And that's the problem. That's why we have to create a lot of story, which is the real story about this safety. And finally, we could come, I think from last year, we started gaining the strength, and now it's there. So that was the example on the engineering. And then comes enforcement. You know that for every 60,000 vehicles, we have one transport officer. It's impossible. So we said, what can we do in terms of soft enforcement? We started working with the professionals in the industry, especially in the after-sales service, the garages, the retailers, and we started talking to them about especially the counterfeit, substandard, spurious. It's hell of a job, but we started doing it. We got a lot of companies coming, we got schools coming in, we got association coming in, and this all together actually made us some success on the business side. So I will say, I will conclude this little bit now telling that, okay, that was the pretext of a very hazard situation. Rather than getting driven by it, we said, okay, we'll drive it. We created an industry forum, we started working on awareness, then we took some projects and we got succeeded on those. The business started coming in, we got financial success. And I would like to appeal with that, and we'll see now in the next cases also similar outcome is when we see this, and if today we remain this road death uncontrolled, today it is fight for reservation, today it is road blockage for many other factors, tomorrow it will be for road deaths. Because I belong to a small place called Madhubani. Whenever I go to my native place, I always see some roads are jammed because somebody died in the road accident. This is very normal, I see it clearly. I don't know in other part of the country. And if that happens so much, the villagers will not allow the highways to run these trucks. And by that time, when that situation comes, when every family has one person died on the road, I think it will be too late, and we need to sensitize, come together to make it happen. I'm really thankful that the industry is supporting, from SIAM, from ECMA sir, and individually every company, that is Mahindra, Tata Motors, Ashok Leyland. It's happening on a grassroots. It's slowly coming up. In 2 to 3 years time, the people will see this on the road, clearly making a difference. And our own ambition, our own target is by 2020, we want to contribute from this visibility area 10%. So we have quantified actually 10% road deaths should be reduced by working in this area from the vehicle side. And this has been signed off by our company management board in Germany. And we are quite proud that we went this way. Okay, we had certain difficulty in the first 3 years. But in fact, as a CEO, I had a threat because I was doing something very different, very radical, and the numbers were not coming in. We are a board-managed company, it's a listed company, a lot of questions from the investors started coming in, but I think now things are settling down, and there is a time gap when this pays off. So I would like to then motivate all of you, wherever you have a small way, let's contribute to this and take this on an urgent level to make this priority for us. Thank you.